Here we are.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling much better, thank you. Yes, here we are. It's Friday. It's the AutoGraders BetaSaaSers something meeting, and we have Janet and Richard and Rose and myself. And my apologies for being late last week. It was half term and there were stomach bugs, and we don't want to hear any more about that. So here we are. Yeah, let's just jump in and check it before. I mean, you know, there'll be laughs, there'll be tears, there'll be all human nature will be here. Let's just check. Is there anything? So I've got a few things on the agenda. I don't know that any of them are particularly insanely more important than the others. Rose and Janet, do you have anything specific that you would like to add to the agenda?
I'd like to delve deeper into what Janet was mentioning with respect to homework 3.
Okay, yeah.
And the combination of RSpec with cucumber syntax.
I think capybara, you mean?
Well, I don't know. You mentioned RSpec 3, so.
Okay. Yep. And then there's cucumber in there for good measure. So it's yes. Okay, that's on the agenda. Anything else?
And I'm curious about Richard's JavaScript mention.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we'll give you the background, but we'll give you the background on that.
We'll talk about this. We'll put a thing in there for future career paths or something for instructors. So we'll come to that. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just loop through the outstanding action items. So I did manage, after last week's late start, to find a way to share all of the issues relating to the textbook that had been hidden by the rearrangement of the different GitHub repos, if that makes sense. So yes. So there is this SaaSbook instructor community resources, and what I did is that I took. So you guys couldn't see. Let's go over here and yeah, because Armando had, in order to make this deal with GitHub, he'd moved the SaaSbook to his own personal repo, where the issues sit nicely, happily nestling in the goodness of GitHub's warm heart, but unfortunately not visible to you guys. And I found a Python script that allowed me to export them from there, and so all the same issues have been created on instructor community resources. So not that they're necessarily in the best form for you to consume, but they basically reflect chronologically me working through the textbook. You can see in this order, and so as I mentioned in an email, you can in principle find a set of issues in there about Rails 4 change things that are the problems that would ultimately get fixed in the textbook. It's there for you to browse, so that we can at least feel, has it gone, satisfied that is done. Perhaps, go on.
Well, before I want to just touch base before we leave the textbook.
Oh yeah, well, yes. I mean, and we can come back to the textbook, of course.
My issue is that my sense is that with Armando teaching the class now,
he is teaching the class, yes.
Now, that this was going to be like the high motivation for updating and correcting the textbook.
Yes.
And as weeks go by without that coming to completion, yes. I can imagine, like, if he gets close to the end of the semester, I can't see where his motivation is going to come to make that a priority.
Well, I mean, I'd say that he is working on it. Like, so, for example, we have the chapter 8, the TDD one. He's updated, so I think it's something that he continues to work on. But I think it's more likely to be something that gets done through the course of the semester rather than is like done and done. But I agree. I mean, the motivation for completing it, I think, subsequent, particularly for both him and me, is that the MOOC has just finished, the part 2 of the MOOC, but there's a new run of the MOOC starting in May, and really it absolutely has to, because basically, from the MOOC point of view, it's all the discussion for the students in the MOOC is like, "What? This is ridiculous! Like we have completely out of date." And so no one's using it, and no one's. I mean, it's kind of like blah. So yeah.
Sam, when you say he's updated chapter 8,
yes.
Has he pushed it yet, or it's just?
No, he hasn't pushed it to. He hasn't pushed it to the Kindle, Amazon store, what have you. He updated it in like some branch in his repo, and then he sent, he generated a PDF of that chapter, which he sent, and I forwarded to you guys.
Right.
That's the one. From my recollection, that was one of the ones that was particularly problematic because I had some students actually follow that last year, and it was too much work for them to correct it to get it through the AutoGrader. I just sort of saw what they did and took their word and gave them credit for it.
Yeah, well, I don't know about an AutoGrader. I mean, that's chapter 8, which is like, of course, the textbook. None of the stuff in the textbook is necessarily directly relevant to the assignment that you do in the for the AutoGrader, but yes, anyhow.
Well, okay, I could be wrong, but what I thought they used sort of the syntax examples and built.
That's what I'm saying. They may have been. Yes, they may well have been using the syntax examples, and absolutely, there's all sorts of things which are.
That's what happened.
But so continuing on the vein of the textbook, what we do have now. So we've got these issues are here in the SaaS book, Instructor Community Resources. In the textbook section, we have chapter 4 here, and we have from Rose. This is Rose's notes on all of the problems with chapter 4.
That was so helpful, Rose. I sent that on to my students.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to do it for chapter 7 also, but my son and his girlfriend are visiting from Florida, so. You know, and I haven't seen him in over a year.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's been a year and a half since I've seen him, and you know, we really wanted to spend time together.
Yeah. Family first, Rose. No worries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to do that for chapter 7.
Well, I think
actually, you know, I have questions about homework 3 because my students are doing that this weekend.
Yeah, but we'll come on to that in a moment.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
I mean, I guess what I'll say here is that, I mean, in principle now, anybody who got, I mean, you know, I guess for me, like, you know, using this new file button, you know, like I would find it, you know, chapter 7. What is that about anyway? Like, you know, stuff about chapter 7. Any time that I had a passing moment, and this is not particularly directed at you, Rose, but this is, I mean, you know, the instructor community in general, and me, of course, as well, is we can, in principle, just sort of like pile stuff in there, and what I did from what you sent, Rose, is I went in and I added extra formatting so that we get the colored.
Yeah, that was nice. That was really,
so
I so appreciate that because I just didn't have time to do it, and normally I do that.
Right.
But I just didn't have the time.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, and I think it's also it's maybe, you know, if you're just in a normal document, it's difficult to do. Whereas by moving it into the markdown of the GitHub, it makes it. This is I'm a fanatic about storing all documentation in GitHub, and we'll move on from that anyway.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Yeah, so we've got that in there, and of course, you know, people could, if they see issues in here or need stuff to add it. They can add it directly in. You could also do pull
Can you look at the commit history of that?
We can. Yes. Look at this. Look at this. We've got an update from a.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Who could this Rilson 17 be?
Right. What happened is I did some updates of it, and I just sort of just want to ask if we have time about sort of the protocol for doing that.
Yes.
But I wasn't sure I did it through that link. I thought I did it through a link related to your name, Sam.
Well,
and maybe you copied this over after. That's why I wasn't sure if.
No. I certainly didn't copy anything over because I was blissfully unaware that you had been doing this.
Okay. What can I say? So maybe this is the link that I was working on. I wasn't sure.
Well, the way it's set up now is that you going to here should have like an edit this file button that you can.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, which you did it, and that would. I mean, it's conceivable that it. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, but yes, if you didn't have write access, it would force you into a pull request mode. But so I think particularly for making typos and updates and so on, I think that's exactly the thing to do. I think if there's a more substantial thing that you want explicit review on, then a pull request is a great way of.
Right, and that's so there were a few things, just the logistics of using this, because I did not find this still as nice as potentially either a Google Doc or Word that has annotations and comments and things. So what I did there was I just did like the minimum, most arguable typos. But you see where we had those Fox. Those citations that just came from the copy and paste.
Yeah.
And you do the Kindle. It's like I wanted to delete those, but I wasn't sure I didn't want to do it without like comments.
Yeah, right. And so
Sure,
that would be where the pull request would come in, I would say.
Right, but the problem is that what I would, and you can tell me if I can do this, what I would like to do, like I do in a document, highlight a paragraph and here's my issue, highlight a word and here's my issue.
Right.
And that doesn't seem to be as easy to do in this. So
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
My own set of changes, but I didn't integrate them.
I mean, the interesting thing, the choice that GitHub, and I agree with you, and I use Google Docs for certain things, particularly real-time editing, and it definitely, GitHub doesn't quite have the, I agree with the shortcomings, but they have me on syntax highlighting personally, the colorization. But the thing to note in GitHub is, although perhaps irritatingly, you can't just make a comment on a thing. If you're in a commit, so for example, if we look at the history there and like the initial thing, and we look at where's it gone? Browse, review the file. No, that was the first one. If you let's go to this one. There we go. Here. So this was the initial thing. So here, you see, I have this blue thing. I can say like this, and I can say, do we really need these? This is like they kind of force you within GitHub. If you're you can do inline commenting and so on, but it has to be done on a commit or on a pull request.
Okay.
So that it's kind of like it has a place in time. So to speak.
But the problem is that what I want to do is I want to sort of do that while I'm editing, and that may not.
Yeah. So that's I mean, you can of course edit, and you can just put I mean, you can get around it and do an edit here. We've got this and say do we really need this?
Right. But the problem is what I was doing is I was preparing this for my class the next day.
Sure.
So what I did is I made a bunch of changes directly in there that I thought were very obvious. And by the way, I did it directly as a commit instead of as a pull request with just the typos. Is that appropriate?
I think that's okay. I mean, I think that the bottom line here is that you guys all really busy. You need to do what you need to do. That's one of the reasons that last week I made sure that everybody had right access to this to just minimize the friction for that. I think I would use the pull request. If you have a bit more time and you're hoping to start a bigger discussion, do the pull request. If you just need to get something fixed, fix it, and we'll work it out.
But the thing is, see, here's the deal. Like, if I do that, again, just the workflow with doing document revision, there'll be comments, annotations, suggestions, and I will go through them one by one. The tools let me sequence through that, accept, reject, and so forth. And
I hear that. No, Google Docs has got a lot. It's
okay. I'm not saying this as a complaint, but just making sure that there's nothing really that that is a legitimate issue. Is that if I'm just going through and doing editing where I make various comments at various levels, I don't see easily how to do that. Am I wrong?
You can't. No, it's true that you can't do it exactly as you would do it in Google Doc, and it's not set up for that. I mean, I think the way that I would be doing that and I do that in all of our projects, whether it's documentation or what have you, is you have a fork, and you edit the document in your own local thing, and you make those changes, and then if you want to be starting discussion, then you post that pull request, and then you add the comments, subsequently to the pull request. I mean, you get it into the state that you want it to be in. I mean, it's a code management tool rather.
Right. And the thing is, I mean, what you're saying, works. The problem is that you do the first thing, and then the pressure's off, and the second thing a lot of times isn't going to happen. But I understand.
Yeah. So indeed. I mean, I think that the big thing for me is that I feel like I'm just much more comfortable distributing these to students rather than Google Docs. Particularly because of the URLs. The Google Docs, you end up with this thing here, and then you have this collection of Google Docs, and that's getting the formatting right, and so on. Anyway, we're still in the. It's obviously I mean, and we could, let's give it a try for a while. We might need to end up move over to Google Docs. I mean, I'm hoping to move to a situation where we have everything in a Git book, and I think they're managing a RAS of the textbook will be much more manageable. Anyway, moving through the other. Oh, go on, Rose.
I hate to do this, but could you just very quickly illustrate the quick workflow for this again because
Oh, okay. Yeah, not a problem.
Jumping around a lot, and I have trouble focusing.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to start here. We're at the Instructor Community Resources page.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to navigate to Chapter 4, which is where I put your things, and then there is an Edit button.
Yeah.
Just there, and then I can edit it.
Yeah. Okay, and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
And what it saves automatically, or where
no, there's a you make a change and then
you make changes. Okay, there it is. It's at the bottom. Okay, I just want to be sure I knew exactly.
Yeah.
Got it.
Excellent. So yeah, we found a link about this process of logically debugging Hangout sound issues. I guess there's still room for
fantastic.
That's I still have this dream of the
Oh yeah, that's right. This is. Yeah, I actually looked at that last week. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's there. We haven't got a way to directly submit from C9 to edX. At least the TAs haven't worked out how to do it. We do have some information related to changing the GitHub editor. I have now created Fabio's Spock. I've given him a clone of Armando's one, so he's got like the two parts in one.
Well, the changing the GitHub editor. Did you just rush by that?
Well, I rushed. I mean, there's a link. I don't know that we necessarily completely successfully did it. I know that Samuel was.
Okay, yeah, I thought that. I mean, I'll take a look at that. I thought the result of that was that it wasn't possible to do because it was asynchronous. But I'll look at that link and see if that which way.
I think there's. Yeah, I mean, we can. There's room for more investigation, but so you will put that into a subsequent action item. Maybe we need that written up. So
I'll take a look.
Excellent. Richard, investigate. For avoiding Vim for students, which is what it's all about. Yes. Okay. So fabulous. Oh, and so finally, yeah. Thank you so much, Rose, for giving me access to the Blackboard. And it's interesting. I think I had access from the beginning. There's so many little things there, like the email that the admin person sent me saying that there was a problem with the email. I had assumed that was a blocking problem with the email. That means I didn't have access. Actually, it wasn't, and I had access all along. So, comedy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I mean, I gave you Course Builder rights, which is why when you come in, you're coming in as an instructor or a TA or and then you would have to, if you want to see the student view, you have to go to it. But if I don't do that, you only get access to the things that the students have access to right now.
Right, sure. But what I did off the back of that was I did manage to track down the in-class collaborative activity that was you and Janet, or I think did Janet say that you used it, or you were
I used it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is my very good write-up of it.
This is I think the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did once you saw the way it was organized with the weekly course material, did that make sense?
It did. I guess the thing that I had trouble with was I was kind of looking for series of things to kind of pull out into here that are like, oh, here's an activity you could do the class. Whereas I think your thing is it's very nicely set up to kind of tell the students, here's something you're going to do, and I guess what we're looking for, or I'm imagining to go in here, is we want something that's aimed at the instructor to say, hey instructor, here's something that you, so then I was a bit confused about what to pull out.
Yeah, so just so you have a guideline, every week has 2 classes, right?
Yes.
And I label everything by week, and then the number of the week, and then the section, and then the day, Monday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right? And then every class is divided up into an overview, the quiz solutions, which the students don't see, the background activities, the regular activities, and then preparation for the next class. So basically the stuff you're looking for is probably going to be in either sections 2 or 3.
Right. So any of them that you think of, I mean, the key thing, I maybe spend some more time poking around in there, but the key thing is here in this class activities, and then for all of us, is
Yeah.
if we've got, a class activity that we think is, we can just click new file here and, add them, and then we just have this stuff in,
I'm sure I could build like a table of contents sort of thing that says, if you're interested in an activity about this. Like, for instance, my first real collaborative background is all about, what is the history of software engineering, where did the term come from, what was, the software crisis, how did it lead to the development of software engineering. I mean, it goes way back, right? But I feel that throughout the semester, it's kind of important to give the students a context that this stuff just didn't arise out of.
Absolutely. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. See, I mean, now, see, I'm here in it now, and I'm kind of like I want to browse through the weekly activities.
You want to go to weekly coursework. Go down. Weekly up. Yeah, there it is.
Weekly
okay,
coursework.
Now click on it.
Oh, so this is the thing that always confuses me with. Oh, okay, and then it comes up.
And the thing is, it looks different to students. How I have to put it together is one way. It looks different to students.
Yeah.
All right, so then I don't know if you go to week 0, actually.
Well, that was week -1.
Week 0, it's going to be either the Monday or the Wednesday activity for. So you have to, you have to click on the week. That's it. Now it'll bring up on the right-hand side that week's stuff, right?
Right.
And then you can, in the pane, you can kind of see what it is. So we have, you're jumping around so fast I can't see.
Yeah, well, we maybe won't do this now, but basically, but it should be the 1.3 M activities in each section.
Can you scroll down just a second?
Well, I was down there, but this one is the 0.3 activity.
Keep going. No, keep going. Okay, and then now you. Oh, okay. So this one. Then there's one on process models. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm having trouble focusing my eyes on what's jumping around there.
Yeah, we'll do this independendly. I think I'll have another pass after this session. So anyway, so that's all of the action items. We had the first action item, first agenda item was Slack usage. Is everybody familiar with the difference between the losing my voice, the @ here and the @ channel in
Actually no.
Yeah, so this is in Slack. If you're in, for example, the BetaSaaSers channel. So you see here, I've done @ here meeting link, and what that means is that anybody who's online, and we can see that in BetaSaaSers we've got, you can see there's like 4 people online here. It means that these people will see kind of like a red 1.
Oh, okay.
Right. If I did the same with @ channel,
yeah,
it would actually email people.
Okay. @ here, that's really useful.
So that's, the interesting thing is, I think the fact that one of the reasons I switched to Slack from Skype was because it supports the email notifications, although ultimately I end up finding them to be completely useless. And but what I've done is I've now stopped using email and I just use Slack almost exclusively. So, so I think it's always a good idea. So the danger in particular in the Agile Ventures is we've got like nearly 1,000 people in the general channel. So if you do @ channel in there, somebody, then that ends up sending emails to all of those people. Whereas @ here we'll just put a red circle with a 1 for those people who are currently online. So yeah.
That sounds great.
Anyway, so that's something to be aware of. I'll just mention in April I'm going to the Learning at Scale conference in Edinburgh where I'm going to meet Armando and we're going to work out hopefully I'm hoping I'm going to convince him to switch to GitBooks and stuff. This was left over from last week. The chapter walkthrough we've touched on already. Yeah. Is there any follow up on that, Richard?
I used it reasonably successfully in my class. I used that cheat sheet that I found that I guess came from Rose. I didn't even know that. I adapted that, printed it out, and it's a pain for the students to look and but whatever. It worked well enough.
Yeah, and that's why imagine that the whole textbook was just in Git like this though, and they only needed to refer to one thing like that. Wouldn't that be nice? Say okay. There we go. So I just go on, Richard.
Even though when you're working, you have the luxury, and most of the time I do too, of like 2 screens so you can put the book up and so forth. But when I have my students working in the classroom,
oh yeah, sure,
they only have their laptop, and even some of them may be small. So even though I applaud the online sort of reference stuff, there is would be a value to having something that they can refer to.
You mean like a phone that they could put in I'm sure none of the students have smartphones that they could be reading the textbook off, do they?
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
I know my students usually split the screen, but
Yeah. No, it is a pain. It's definitely a pain to be. I mean, I often see books as kind of they're like little portable screens. That's how I see them now. They're like a little extra screen that I can carry around.
Which doesn't require power. Speaking one other thing, I don't know what to do. As I'm looking at students and making sure they really are following the chapter 4 and this and that, and a number of them do have PDFs.
Yeah. Of the textbook.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I just roll my eyes and walk on, and I don't know.
I mean, it's a difficult thing, isn't it? I mean, it's
$10, but
yeah. I mean, go on, Rose.
Can't you, once you buy it? Can't you? Isn't there a way that you can export it in PDF format once you buy it?
No, I don't think so, or at least.
No, I mean not trivially, not authorized.
I think that's
okay. I thought what it is. There's a lot of electronic book formats that I guess maybe I'm thinking of the Nook.
Maybe I think Amazon's always been.
Say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, okay, Janet.
So,
okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Janet. We were just going to come on to the homework.
I know. It's many things at once. So.
Sure, we should have done that first. Oh well. Thank goodness.
Next time, let us know.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye for now, Janet. Take care. Okay. Yeah. So yes. I mean, I think there's that. Oh, what is it with the PDFs? Yeah. I mean. Yeah.
I've bought a number of books in electronic format, and either when I buy it, I have a choice. For instance, on O'Reilly.
Right.
Or once I get it, I'm allowed to transfer it to some other.
Yeah. Amazon's very it's on the Kindle and that's it. That's their approach.
I tell you, it reminds me of the way Apple handles things.
Yeah.
It's ours and you're not touching it.
Yeah.
The issue is if they did allow PDFs, then the thing that I was pointing out would be even more pervasive.
Oh well, sure.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
It amazes me how does a company like O'Reilly continue to make a profit, even though that's exactly how they handle it. I have PDFs of all the books I've bought from them.
I don't know. They have good customer service.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, shall we jump into this? The homework 3, RSpec, capybara, syntax, and cucumber. So the issue that Janet brought up on the mailing list was related to this. I think it's a cucumber step in chapter 3, which relates to basically checking.
Then I should see,
the order in which things are seen on a particular page. So
exactly.
Yeah, and so she was having trouble with that, and I think basically there's a couple of things, but the key thing was, in order to, I think the best way to deal with it was to have I've got my example here, is to use this capybara extension to RSpec, which is to use this have content matcher.
Okay, but I'm interested because now this is writing cucumber test steps.
This is writing cucumber test steps, yes.
And you're writing them in RSpec.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, I mean, effectively, cucumber is just a layer on top of RSpec in the way that we're using it in this, throughout the course and the textbook.
All right, so we can use RSpec notation anywhere inside of Cucumber.
If things are set up like that, and they kind of I mean, Cucumber, as Armando shows, he uses it to like test his Apple II emulator and so on. You can kind of plug Cucumber into anything, but the sort of default operation, in the way that it's used, I say, throughout the textbook, throughout the assignments, and also in many places in the wild, in all the boot camps and so on, and in many companies, is that effectively you're just using Cucumber as a translation layer. You've got some, this expect page to have content reads kind of well, but it's still not at the level of the kind of pure English syntax of the Cucumber, which I don't know if we've got any of it down here, but and so go on.
Oh, well, I also had a question about the regular expression there, because Janet was like taking the page body, splitting it on new lines and joining.
Yeah.
Isn't it possible to use a modifier so that you don't have to do all that?
Well,
like what?
Modify the regular expression.
Or...
Possibly, but that's also what have content does.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference is between this simple, straightforward string comparison in RSpec, which might fall foul of that issue. There may well be a regular expression that, I mean, there almost certainly is some regular expression that will manage those things. But in order to not have to worry about that, the have content here is a capybara matcher that basically says, oh yes, I know that the content is coming from a web page, and thus I will behave accordingly. And I have to say, I think this is one of the things that is most confusing about the whole structure of all of this.
No kidding.
And I remember this when I was taking the course for the very first time, some 4 or 5 years ago now, or 4 years ago, is that in this thing of I'm inside a Cucumber step and I have stuff like this, and I'm like, where is the documentation for have content?
Exactly. Exactly.
And I mean, like, it took me quite a long time to work out that this is a piece of capybara syntax. This is a piece of RSpec syntax, and I'm inside of Cucumber shell. But it's kind of like, it's very non-obvious. Once you know it, okay, fantastic.
But one of the problems is so many of these things have been updated multiple times, and it's really confusing when you go trying to find the documentation, A, and B, try to find the correct version of the documentation. Janet, you're back.
Hey, Janet.
Yeah, they said, oh, we have to delay the meeting 10 minutes. So I said, bang on my door when the actual meeting.
Oh, you said that you just couldn't.
Fantastic.
You missed us too much. I think that really. She's making up these stories. It was really just our charisma that she was. Janet, it's great to see you back. We were just discussing the the issue that you brought up and the different things. We kind of from your point of view, we resolved the issue to your satisfaction. All made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you could have a completely non-working test passing the AutoGrader is a little bit concerning.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've seen that.
Because I've been working with this, and none of the students had caught this the previous time I taught the class, but then this time the students were in going, I typed in the wrong movies and the test is passing.
Yeah.
Why is that? And and then I had to research it. And I agree with Rose. The capybara documentation, I was trying to find like where I could point the students to on some of these commands, and I could not find it.
Yeah, it's
it's really maddening.
I mean, it's the place. That's interesting. I mean, the place that I think is kind of the best starting place is the capybara README itself has. Here we go. Like, rather than having detail, it has examples of using all of these things. So this is kind of like, and it's got their like, using fill-in, they're like scoping within, finding things, like there you go. It's like have content, these things, and then this like these ones do link here, so full reference capybara. So we've got here, so like talking about the contents of this have content, full reference capybara node matches. This is then links into in principle in here we can find. So actually has content is it has this actually then is the full syntax here for
Okay.
yeah. So it's kind of, I mean, I agree. The same thing in the boot camp and in NHPU and in the MOOC. Everybody's very confused. Once you kind of know the right places to look, you know the right places to look, but it takes a long time to get to that point, and it's definitely an issue that every semester, students coming to this for the first time.
I tell you, that really disturbs me with Chapter 7.
Yeah.
Number one, there are virtually no examples in Chapter 7 of the actual syntax used in the step definitions.
Right.
I mean, I can pull out maybe 2 or 3 very, very, very brief examples, and I think that's ridiculous.
Okay, yes.
And number 2, there should be some sort of like, they have in general good little summaries after each section, and it would be so helpful if in one of those summaries they said, learning this can be challenging. Here's what you should do in terms of, go to this documentation, and then, this will give you insight into this, and then for further stuff, go here. I mean, it would be immensely helpful. And I don't know if anyone's noticed, but it seems like a lot of the Cucumber documentation has been updated. It's only halfway updated. Like, for instance, I don't know if you can see the page I'm on, but this is the main reference page for Cucumber.
Yeah.
And, half the stuff is now TBD.
Yeah.
See this?
I found some of that as well.
It's just ridiculous. So you go to look something up, and it's not there. And where on earth do you find it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the place to go it will be generally the GitHub READMEs. So GitHub, if we do GitHub Cucumber.
They're not, they're just. I mean, for Cucumber at least, I got no joy out of that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, generally for me, I find I almost don't need the Cucumber. Yeah, I mean, I haven't used this Cucumber.io thing. I guess this is this is the documentation that you were just looking at. Yeah, that's all like new, and I've never even referred to it myself.
Well, it's new and incomplete.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And now, obviously, if you're just wrapping around the capybara and the RSpec, suddenly looking for documentation becomes easy.
I'm just looking here.
And also, I noticed that there are no solutions on the SAS book for these homeworks.
When you say on the SAS book, there's
I
none.
found some, but they were wrong.
There's none in the textbook. Where
on
GitHub.
In the SAS book repo. You know how it's like a CI at the end if it's a solution?
Well, it's a CI if it's, not all of them have solutions. So like some of the ones that I've just created have just got the specs, right? But the solutions for everything in principle are in the homework directory. But some of them may be slightly out of date.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
I didn't realize that. I thought that was deprecated. I thought that wasn't.
Well, it's deprecated. They still work against the graders. I mean, that's which is maybe not necessarily such a good thing. But for example, if we look at homework BDD Cucumber, which is the one that you're just about to do, Rose, so the solution I think is probably not in the C. But I mean, there's a solution here.
Oh, I couldn't see that. Where was that? Or no, is that the solution and then it really isn't a solution? Is that the one? There was one that that's supposed to be the reference solution for it. As I was saying the other time, note that because in the sequence of things, if the solution or whatever is like out of date in the CI, then the thing is to go on to the next thing, because the solution to homework 3 is in homework 4. The solution to homework 2 is in homework 2. Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
You think the solution wasn't in here for this one?
No, I'm saying that when you went to homework BDD TDD cycle,
yes,
the solution wasn't there.
Oh, okay, for that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I found one, but it was wrong.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the starting point
that
it should have been, so I didn't understand that because I'm panicking about that since that'll be next week's problem.
Okay.
But I couldn't find the HW BDD Cucumber CI at all.
Right.
In fact, in the last couple of days, it seems like this repo has, like, things have come and gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this has been there, and
Very weird. BDD.
it's still there.
Okay, so here's.
Oh, they're summoning me into my meeting. So.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Janet. I'm just add some more note there. Janet concerned that AutoGrader doesn't catch some issues, and Rose unable to find solutions. I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
I'm looking at the repo right now, at least as far as what I can see. Right? And where is this? Oh, now this doesn't say HW BDD Cucumber CI. Is this it?
Well, no, I can't see your screen. Personally, I'm looking at this.
Oh, jeez, I'm putting it up on the wrong screen. Sorry.
Well, so that's the old one.
You're looking at? That's the old one. That's what I thought. Okay. And
I've just put the link in the thing as the new one. Is HWBD's Cucumber CI.
Okay.
So if you click on that link that came up in the Hangout, or
it says page not found.
Oh, then you don't have access to that.
Yeah, and how is that?
Well, that's because you know the TA's made all of these new things, and the access permissions haven't been updated, which I can do right now. But yes, I mean, I think the bottom.
I'm not a lunatic. I really can't find this.
Let's add that in there. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that wasn't. Okay, so you should be able to see it now.
Oh, that would be great. Okay. No? Well,
really?
Not yet anyway.
Try reloading.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I mean, your browser, I just see it says Salzburg page 3 at the moment. I can't see anything else.
Hold on. Well, I'm looking in a different window. So
Okay.
Hold on. Copy link location. I'll look in this one.
There you go.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, that makes more sense. All right. So yeah, I mean, I really thought, like, wow, am I going nuts here?
Yeah. Well, apparently not. Although, you know, that must be.
Okay. Yeah, I know. And Richard laughs. You know, like that isn't the proof of or not. You know.
Yeah, and actually, what it looks like here, as I look at it, it looks like consistently none of the homeworks hyphen. Well, I think maybe the Ruby intro was in there. I've added the Rails CI, the Rails intro CI, the BDD Cucumber CI, and the BDD.
Yeah, none of that was in there.
No, I've added it all now, so you should be able to see all of it. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know, it'll be helpful at any rate.
Yeah, basically, I think what.
Yeah, I was looking at Janet's email, and then I went to look at that and compare.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, where is it?
Yeah. So I think that the summary there is that I think, you know, on all levels there's a lot of work to do in terms of the graders to be improved, the text bits to be improved, the access to the different things. It's all a bit of a.
And what about the stocks?
Yeah. What? Anything particular about them? Because I've got to go to another meeting, but.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna need part 2 in like a week.
Okay. Yeah, I can make that for you. Make part 2 for Rose. Yep.
So it's upgraded.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's completed. The MOOC part 2 is completed. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Great stuff, guys. I'm busy filling out, you know, the many things to do, and we'll get on them.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Good
yeah, Sam, if at some point you want to go over some stuff with me as far as activities, just, you know,
I'll give you a shout.
I'm probably going to be most of the day sitting here in front of the computer.
Okay. Well, I hope you have fun. Richard, it was good chatting with you earlier as well. Guys, I'll look forward to catching up with you online and same time next week.
Thanks, Richard.
All right.
Thanks, Sam.
Bye for now.
Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Bye.